Mr. Let, use it with an asterisk. Or figure something out. You know, like you say, oh, Mr. Let. You can do let. Mr. Let. And it's easy. I mean, it's real easy. It's 3 letters. So it's let. Well, it's only Mr. Let, so why would I stroke it twice? You can do it however you want. You can do it with the asterisk, or you can do it twice. Either way is not very hard. So, I mean, there's ways of getting around it. So, you know, think of a way and then write it down on your piece of paper as she's giving you the names of the test, you know, your proper names on the test. You're always, okay, Mr. Let, it's L-E-T-T, off to the side. My brief is going to be L-E*T. Okay, so now you already know. So you already have it in your mind and you already have it on that piece of paper. So now you're thinking about it more. So as you're taking the test, you already know. You're already doing it. So when you go to transcribe that thing, it's like, Mr. L-E*T, what's that? Oh, that was Mr. Let. So you always remember. So don't think of it just in your head. Always write it down on a piece of paper so you know. The shorthand machine, I'm not really going to get into that, guys. Y'all already know that. Whether it's a manual machine, you don't use manual machines. You use electronic shorthand machines, so we already know that stuff. So you don't, I mean, it's not something that we really need to cover. Producing the transcript. The ultimate goal of the court reporter is to produce an accurate transcript, and the accomplishment in this task can also be done in a variety of ways. For purposes of discussion, let us divide the production of the transcript into the old method and the new method. The old method of producing the transcript involved court reporter taking his or her notes from the shorthand writer and then doing 1 to 3 things with the notes, giving them to a note reader, dictating the notes into a tape recorder, or the reporter transcribing by notes. Guys, when I was in school, that's how we did it. Believe it or not, we wrote on paper. And when we typed up our test, you're sitting there on a typewriter. Do y'all even know what a typewriter is, some of y'all? You? Yeah. Probably don't even know what a typewriter is. It's this big old machine with a key, with a, you know. So, I mean, we had to do it on typewriter. You know, and you have this little thing, and you sit there and you flip your notes up, and that's how we typed our tests out. That's how I did it at the state test, guys. I took a big old typewriter to the state test with my machine, paper, all of that stuff. You guys have no idea how advanced y'all are now because of this. And that's why I'm saying, you guys are, the day that you get out, the day that you get noticed that you pass that state test and you're ready to go, you're going to be able to crank out a transcript that day, ready to go. I wasn't. I didn't even know software. I had to learn software. You guys are already there. Google, going to become your best friend. You want to know anything, Google it. You can learn anything on Google, anything. Ask any question to Google and it probably knows anything. So you guys are way more advanced than we are. The new method of doing it is, you know, computer-aided transcription. You know, and that's the CAT system, and that's, you know, real-time reporting to where it's coming up already. Or even if it's not, you know, like in my Eclipse class, what I tell you, you have a little SD card that it writes on the SD card. You shoot it in there, push Alt-T to transcribe it. It transcribes it into your dictionary, ready to go. So you're ready to go. You're not sitting there with your notes, typing with your notes, whatever. You're ready to go. That's the difference. When do court and real-time reporters do their jobs? Now that we have seen who a court and real-time reporter is and what he or she does, the next logical question may be, when and where do court reporters do their jobs? Whenever an accurate record is needed. Okay? In almost every important trial or litigation in the history of the world, someone has always been there to record the events. That's true. It is. You know, and whether it's come from doing it on a clay tablet with a thing or whatever, or doing it with the CAT system, computer-aided transcription. Look how far it's come. But they've always done it, you know. Whenever a quick transcript is needed, court and real-time reporters pride themselves on the accuracy of the record and the production of the transcription within a reasonable time after the completion of the litigation or trial, especially with the use of CAT or real-time translation. Lawyers and judges appreciate the timeliness of a quick and accurate transcript. They do not have to put up with the hassle of having someone transcribe from audio or visual recordings. So that's the one thing that, you know, judges and attorneys appreciate, is that, you know, not having to use a recorder. Because now, with the recorder, they said, you know what, we need a copy of that. So now what? Well, now you got to ship it to somebody who's going to sit there and listen to it and type it on just a regular old Word format. So they're just going to sit there and listen to this thing and keep rewinding the tape and just getting as much as they can. Well, they weren't there. You know, when you have two guys that sound the same or two ladies that sound the same, and they get those people mixed up on who's talking, and you think that's not going to affect the record? Because the defendant's attorney is saying, you know, I want that guy put in jail. When really it was the prosecutor who said, he's guilty and I want that guy put in jail. And instead they messed up because they typed up that it was a defense attorney saying, you know, he's guilty and I want that guy put in jail. Seriously? You know, and that's the difference. That's the difference between a recording and a court reporter. And if you don't believe, you know, that things can get jumbled up and mixed up and whatever, you guys have used Siri, haven't you? You ever used that? Talked into that? And the stuff that comes up? Holy cow. Really? And you know, it determines whether or not I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life, and you got Siri taking it down? Of whether I'm guilty or innocent? You know, I mean, and I'm not making fun of, I am, but I'm not, of Siri or whatever, but it's just recording. It hasn't come far enough to be able to take what a court reporter can do. Does that make sense, Joe? That's why we take pride in what we do, because you take an accurate record of what's going on. Okay? Whenever a permanent record is necessary, the legal proceedings that the court reporter in real time are responsible for is preserved for many years. You know, how long do you keep your stuff? Well, if it's criminal, it's 12 years. You have to keep it for 12 years. And if it's civil, then it's 3 years. That's what it is right now. You know, so other states may have different stuff. You know, it may be forever. I don't know in certain states. I'm not sure. But that's what it is here. Whenever lawyers and judges want to save time and money, although some people contend that the cost of putting an electronic recorder into a courtroom or a deposition situation is cheaper than using a court reporter, the fact is that many hidden costs are involved in taping a litigation proceeding that are not included in the original cost. That's true, because they have this big old machine that's there, or they did, and they did it here in Bexar County, where they had a machine that was doing it. They had to pay a lady, you know, granted she made less than what we did, but they had a lady who was controlling this machine and whatever, and whenever the tape ran out, she'd have to take out the tape and turn it over and blah, blah, blah. But she wasn't the one who transcribed it. They used to send the tapes to like Houston, and somebody who wasn't even there is taking it down and is putting it into English. So if they couldn't understand what it was, they just put in Audible. Well, that's okay, unless it's you that's up for murder and you didn't do it. And they're saying, well, did he or she, did he have a knife or a gun? Well, I couldn't hear it. Inaudible. That whole thing is inaudible. And none of that goes up on appeal because they appealed it. And that was the one thing that you were counting on that they would hope to get in the appeal. And they didn't get it because they weren't there. They couldn't understand what was going on because two people were talking at the same time and the person who was, controlling the machine didn't tell them to speak one at a time. Or they got the speaker wrong. And they have the judge, saying something that one of the defense attorneys said, or the plaintiff's attorney said, or something. And they jumbled up the whole thing, and throughout the whole proceeding, the court, were the prosecutors making rulings on objections that the court made because they messed up on the speaker identifications. I've heard of it happening. And you want that to be your case? I don't. I want somebody who's taking an accurate record, and that's what court reporters do. Whenever assistive reporting is needed, assistive reporting can be defined as any type of reporter that serves as a help or an aid to someone in communicating. The best example of assistive reporting is, of course, closed captioning. And you guys know what that is. So if somebody's taking a class and they can't hear or talk, but they can see, but they don't necessarily know how to read lips or whatever, or they're too far away, and I'm going to have a court reporter come and speak about that. I'm trying to get Whitney to come speak to you guys about closed captioning. There's like 6 chapters that have to deal with closed captioning. We're going to cover it all in that one night, so you might want to bring a sandwich that night. But we're going to cover it all that night. I'm going to have her come and just speak one time, so that's where, closed captioning reporters are needed. Legal reporting, those are people in the courtrooms or whatever. I mean, a lot of this stuff is self-explanatory or whatever, so, a lot of this stuff we already know. Medical reporting is kind of the same thing in the field of medicine. The skill of a reporter is being used for a rapid text entry for producing a doctor's medical records, which would normally be dictated into a recorder and transcribed by a transcriptionist. So they have people who do medical transcription, or sometimes, I guess, I don't really know that I've ever heard of it, but, I guess they do it, a doctor wants an accurate thing or whatever, so he calls in a court reporter and, tells the court reporter exactly what a patient needs or whatever and put it into the file, I guess, is what they're saying there. Entertainment reporting, and that's actually closed captioning too. So I mean, doing the news, doing these what is it called, reality shows and stuff like that, and people that are hard of hearing, they don't want to be limited on what they can see and hear. I mean, because they want to be able to do it all. So reporters, that's why reporters are needed, to take these things, because they want to know what's going on in the world. So they want to be able to watch the news. Well, you know what? Maybe they like Seinfeld too. And they want to be able to see, what's going on, and read along with what's going on. And that's where those reporters are needed. So that's what, entertainment is. It's closed captioning for that. Business reporting, is taking conventions, maybe a speech of someone. I know that I got called one time to do, I think, a SAWS hearing. San Antonio Water System, and they have like a board meeting hearing. A little bit intimidating, because you have a lot of people that are there, but it's one guy that's speaking to a big crowd of people, so it was, but I mean, sometimes you get called for stuff like that. Why use court reporters? Accuracy. That's one of the biggest things. Why use a court reporter or a real-time reporter? Because people want an accurate record. That's why. Reliability is the same thing. They want to know that an accurate record is being made, and that I can get a transcription of that record. When that reporter tells me, that I'm going to be able to get it. Or what, I need it by tomorrow, and I'm going to tell that court reporter before we even start this thing. Look, I need you to send me someone